Our SABC correspondent Albina Kovalyova, who is live there. Albina, thank you for joining us. One of the rescued pilots has given a different version of events to those recounted by Turkish authorities. Will this further increase tensions between Moscow and Ankara?
Well, his account was indeed very much opposed to that of Turkey. He said that there was no warning given by Turkey as the plane was flying, although the flying conditions were such that he would have been able to hear had such a warning had such a warning gone through. Will this increase tensions? Well, it's hard to see how else the tensions could escalate. There's already been so many announcements today from tourism kind of being halted, Russian tourists being called back home. Also, the Russian Agriculture Ministry is checking into Turkish imports here in Russia, saying that they are not safe. Some 15% of that food is not safe, so checking into that. Now that's 20% of Russian vegetables are from Turkey. There's also been an announcement by Russia's Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, who said that there will be an overlooking, seeing again if some of those cooperations and ties and joint projects between Russia and Turkey might not be now halted as well. So all of these things, and on top of this, the Russian Defense Ministry canceling all cooperation with Turkey, including the hotline that would allow the two countries to coordinate over any future incidents in the skies, such as the one that occurred this week.
So you're saying that the tensions have escalated, and this is now, and all these series of interventions that have taken place and actions that have taken place to keep the countries apart have now really damaged the relations between those two countries.
That's right. The relations between the two countries have definitely cooled. They have been very strong in the past. The tourism industry has been very strong. Russians have chosen Turkey as one of the top destinations to go on holiday, and the energy sector was a very big area of cooperation. It still is, unless that changes. Turkey imports most of its gas from Russia. There's also been a lot of intelligence sharing over terrorism, a very important area for the both countries trying to fight terrorism in both areas. Back to you.
Okay, so now, Albina, let's look at NATO. NATO has said it will support Turkey as a member country. Now, how will this affect relations between Russia and the rest of NATO?
Well, indeed, the tensions are high because this is indeed a NATO country, but at the same time, Russian president right now is meeting with the French president François Hollande, and there is a move there for more coordinated action to fight ISIS in Syria. So there is some progress on the one hand, and on the other hand, there is this tension going on with Turkey. It's not putting a very good light on today's meeting with François Hollande.
Now, this incident has again brought the spotlight onto the relationship between Washington and Moscow. The United States has said it supports Turkey's right to protect its airspace. Now, has Russia in any way addressed the United States' position in the light of this incident?
Yes, indeed. Russia has almost immediately said that the United States is already backing Turkey without really looking into an incident. But really, Russia and the United States are have very different views in Syria. This is the main issue here. Russia is, prepared to do everything to keep Bashar al-Assad in power, and the United States want him out. This is the main area of contention. It is not clear how this problem will be solved, even if there will be some coordinated action over ISIS between Russia and the West.
And if we can go back before this incident, what was the relationship between, or the relations between Russia and Turkey like before this incident took place?
Well, like I've already said, there have been very strong areas of cooperation between the two countries. Tourism is a very key area where there was a great cooperation. There is no visa required for Russian citizens wanting to holiday in Turkey. Therefore, it was a very prime destination for Russian tourists. Agriculture, another sector, there was a lot of trade between the two countries. The energy sector is another one. Like I said, Turkey has got a lot of its resources from this country. There were some cultural ties as well, and of course the intelligence sharing over tourism. So a lot of historic ties, a lot of business ties, all of that is now in jeopardy because of the incident this week.
Okay,
I'm
glad you brought up the business ties. What other economic measures will Russia be implementing towards Turkey?
That's a good question. I think we will see in the next days how this will develop. To what extent are the proposals right now threats, or will they materialize into something real? Will the agriculture checks turn into real import bans in the same way that Russia has prohibited produce from the EU and from the US? Will it turn into this kind of situation, or is it just a message right now? And what stands behind Dmitry Medvedev's words? Is this another threat? Will the big pipeline deals be cancelled, or is it just going to stay on the level of words? Hopefully this situation will at some point be resolved diplomatically and will not escalate into a big trade war as it has for Russia over other conflicts, for example with Ukraine and with Europe and the United States.
Well, thank you very much indeed for your analysis. That was our correspondent Albina Kovalyova speaking to us live from Moscow in Russia.